Hi, welcome to episode 138 of the Passionate Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. There is a Ravelry group for the podcast. Please come over, join. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming back. I haven't podcasted in like 6 weeks, and this time it's not my fault. I really wanted to podcast before because I have so much stuff to show and talk about, but there's construction going on outside my house. It's on the street, which is, right there. And there's going to be an update on the sewer system. So there's a lot of hammering and I can't podcast. And they work Monday through Saturday, starting at 7 a.m. and finishing at 6 p.m. So after 6, of course, it's pitch black outside. So the lighting will be awful. And before that, it's just too noisy. So it's Sunday. And I have finally time on a Sunday to sit down and do a podcast. So this is going to be very long. I'm sorry about that. Cannot change it. It's also going to be a 2-part episode because I have a lot to show for knitting and also a lot to show for spinning. So I separated the spinning and we'll do an extra video for all of that. And in this video, I'm going to talk about everything else. So let's start. I am wearing the Blythe top by Kim Hargraves. It's a pattern that is in a book of hers that I don't remember the name of. And I knit this a few years ago with Pandia's Jewels yarn. And I really like it. I love wearing it. So I put it on today because it's quite warm. As you can see, I had to block out the sunlight. So, I mean, quite warm. It's a lie. It's really freezing outside, but, windows and sunlight, they make things warm. So, I'm just in a shirt. Okay. Now, knitting in the past. I have done a lot of knitting, and all of it was for my son. I'm going to show you the small stuff first. So, the first thing I have to show is this fat cat. This is Pickles the cat. The pattern is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. This is his face. I attached the tail. The tail is just supposed to be loose, but I thought a toddler with that cat and a tail, it's going to be a weapon instead of a toy, and I didn't want that. So I just sewed it down in several spots, you can see here. And I like the result of that a lot. So the pattern and the yarn. The yarn is my own hand spun, and it was made from Rolex that I made on a blending board. This is the leftover, which is not a whole lot. And I did call the colorway Fright Night because it's very Halloween-y. And I spun up a Merino, Llama, Linen, and Angelina blend into 165 meters. That's 180 yards of a worsted weight yarn. And then, like I said, where is the pattern? Do I have it here? I don't. So this is called Pickles the Cat. It's a paid-for pattern on Ravelry, and I don't have it here, so I cannot tell you who's the designer or anything, but I love it. Tim loves it as well. It's his favorite thing ever. And yeah, it's really fun. Super easy to knit, and I enjoy it. I really enjoyed making this. Mainly probably because it's handspun, and knitting with handspun is just so nice. So yeah, I made Pickles the cat for Tim. I also made a basket full of autumnal fruit because he's obsessed with Halloween, and I have absolutely no idea why, because we don't do Halloween here, I mean, there probably is Halloween stuff done in bigger cities, but out here in the German Alps, no Halloween. But yeah, he was obsessed with it, and my basket is falling apart. So I knit him some pumpkins and other autumnal fruit because when I started, I couldn't stop because I love knitting this small stuff. So the first thing I knit was 2 of these. They're called the Patch. The pattern is by Drops Design. I know. They're not the nicest people, but I didn't want to spend money on a pumpkin pattern. And I really like this one. It's super easy to knit. I kind of screwed up the first one. So it has like this extra nipple. That was the first one that I made. The yarn that I used for almost all of these things I'm going to show is Rowan Lightweight DK that I had in like 25-gram hanks. No idea why, but I've had lots of them, and I have all of this left over now. So this is the yarn that I used to knit all of these things. So first pumpkin, the larger one, then I made a smaller one in 2 different colors, and that one I kind of got right. So it looks like this. These are the 2 drops pumpkins. Then I got into knitting apples, and the pattern for the apple is a free pattern on Ravelry again by, oh, I don't know. It was a blog post that I printed out, and I don't remember who the designer was, but I mean, look at these apples. They look like apples look. They are the cutest thing ever. And because I loved it so much, I made 3 of those. Because, you know, they look so much like apples. Which has a lot to do with the color, of course. If I had done those in purple, you know, they wouldn't look like apples, but plums. But yeah, I really like them. Super easy to knit, free pattern. So yeah, I made 3, and then I kind of moved on to the next thing. And I wanted to make lots of those, but I'm not happy with the pattern. So I did the wee mushrooms from Isolde Teague's Itty Bitty Knits. I think it's the name of the book. Whimsical Little Knits. And it looks like this. And I'm not very happy with it. I'm not sure if I did something wrong. But yeah, it's made so it stands up on itself, which, you know, it does on the table, not on my hand. But yeah, I was not happy with this mushroom. But since then, Hunter Hamilton released a mushroom pattern that I might get and make a bowl of mushrooms next year. But I'm, you know, for this year, I'm done with the autumnal fruit knitting. So after I've made all of these, I kind of wanted to have a different pumpkin, because these just didn't scream Halloween pumpkin to me. So I made another one, and that one is by Jan Louise. It's another free pattern. It looks like this. The Autumn Pumpkins. And this is it. I used some mystery yarn from my stash in a very bright orange, and some different yarn for the leaf, and the Rowan in 2 different shades of brown held double for the stem. And with this one, I'm really happy. I think this one looks a lot like a pumpkin actually looks, you know? So yeah, here's the basket. I actually got out and bought this basket because I really wanted to have it look nice. And it's on the windowsill upstairs and looks great. And the cat is sitting right next to it, guarding everything. So yeah, that's my son's Halloween basket. And I really enjoy making these things. But I'm done with stuff like that for now. Okay. I have no idea where to put stuff because I have so much in here right now because I have so much stuff to show. It's crazy. Okay. You go in here. Now, next thing. I hear my son crying upstairs, but my husband's home, so he will handle it. I don't know if you can hear it. If you can hear it, do not worry. He's not alone. It's going to be okay. He has his dad. Okay, talking about my Halloween obsessed kid. A designer that I follow on Instagram came out with a Halloween-ish pattern. The pattern is called Sabrina's Sweater. It's inspired by the new Sabrina television show on Netflix, and which is amazing, by the way. So I got the pattern right after it was released, and this is what it looks like. It's by Megan Regan, and I decided to knit this for my son. So when you buy the pattern, you get a DK weight version and a fingering weight version. And I decided to do the DK weight version in the smallest size and then have a child sweater. And to make sure that the sweater will fit in the end, I used the Flex Light pattern for the size that Tim needs right now, compared all the numbers, and then chose the one that was number-wise closest to the Flex Light pattern, which ended up being the smallest size. And then I started knitting, and I looked at my sweater, and I looked at the pattern, and I looked at the chart, and I realized that that was not the same thing. And I contacted the designer and said, you know, I started the sweater and it looks very different from your pictures. And it did, because you will see when I hold it up, this row of white diamonds is not in the chart, or it was not in the chart. So when I started knitting my sweater, no white diamonds on top in here. And I contacted the designer and said, you know, I really think they should be there, because if I finish this yoke to the point where you tell me to separate, this is never going to fit, ever. And then she just sent me a picture of a test knitter sweater and her sweater and said, yeah, that's the original sweater, had it in, the test version didn't, and so I left it out in the pattern. I was like, yeah, it's okay, but all of the pictures that you put up have that in. So, you know, what I buy and what I get are two different things. So she changed the pattern, put it back in, and just sent me an update and said, yeah, it's in now. Like, okay. Okay. I just, you know, I don't expect someone to fall to their knees and kiss my feet, but a simple thank you for letting me know would have been nice, to be fair. I'm not very happy with this right now. So yeah, I had started the sweater doing the yoke pattern as written, and I should have separated for the sleeves here, which would have fit a baby, not a 5-year-old, almost 5-year-old kid. So I decided to completely change the thing and make it very much my own. And I did knit the skull pattern that was supposed to be after separation, just on the body, into the yoke. So this is what the sweater looks like. This is the finished sweater. I used her charts, and everything else I made up myself. So that is hers again. That's the version, the actual sweater. And that is my sweater. Very different things. So I'm going to pack that away because I didn't actually use it all that much, except for the charts. The first problem I encountered was, and this is not giving away a lot, for the smallest size in a DK weight, she has you cast on like 64 stitches for the neckline, which I actually have problems believing that anybody's head will fit in. So I started with the cast on number, or I used the number to cast on that she gives in the pattern after the first increase round. So that was about like 120 stitches or something. So this fits over my son's head. Then I improvised some short row shaping to make the back higher than the front. And after that, I used the yoke chart and the increases as given and did the skull pattern. And then when I hit the pattern for the skulls, this was supposed to be on a black background, you know? I'm gonna have to show it again so you can see. So here's the skulls as planned, and here's mine. I decided that I didn't want to have a black background because that would have been such a harsh line in the sweater that I didn't enjoy that. So I opted for doing 3-color work, which sucks, by the way, to make those skulls be on an orange background. I'm very happy with my decision, to be honest. I think this looks great. the way I did it. I'm very proud of this sweater. I love how it turned out. Tim loves how it turned out. It's a bit long right now, which is good because that means that it will fit again next year. So yeah, this is my sweater. For the transitioning, I again used her chart, but changed it a bit. And I had to make it like this to knit the sweater in the black because I didn't have enough of the orange. So I had 1 skein of orange, 1.5 skeins of the black, and the natural white and the gray were just leftovers. So I used Stoppelwolle Alblino yarn, which is a Southern German merino linen blend. It's this yarn here. It's amazing. I absolutely love this yarn. And on the label, it tells you that the actual shepherd where the yarn, the fiber for the merino content came from, it is local to their factory. And that is something that I really like. So it doesn't only just feel amazing, I also think that, you know, the idea behind this yarn is great. So I had 1.5 skeins and I have this much left of the black or charcoal gray. And I have a lot left of the orange, but it wouldn't have been enough for the sweater. So yeah, I am really happy with the result, but I was not very happy with the pattern. Because honestly, I've knit lots of patterns, lots of sweaters. And I just think if I had done it the way it's written, it would not have fit anyone. Because you wouldn't have been able to get your head through at all. And the yoke wouldn't have been deep enough. So I, like I said, used the Tinker Knits Flex Light pattern for all the numbers, you know, to find out the depth of the yoke that I need. The stitches for the body, the stitch count for the sleeves, the length, everything I did based on the Flex Light pattern. And I used the chart of the Sabrina sweater pattern. That is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. And now that she has changed the pattern to make it have the diamond up in here again, I think it's better that way. I would love to have this for myself, to be honest. Don't you think that this would be amazing? I think it would be amazing. I love it. But yeah, Tim is very excited about it. Again, 3-color color work. Not fun. Not fun at all. But worth it in the end. You know, every time I have a decision to make like this, I think it would be so much easier and faster if I do it this way. But if I did it the slower way, it's going to be better in the end. I always think back to season 3 of the Great British Bake Off, where Brandon, who was adorable, said something along the lines of, if it is worth doing, it is worth doing well. And I just kind of live by that since I heard him say it, because it's so true. If you are going to take the time to knit a sweater, you might as well make it the best version it can be. And I think I managed that. It took me 6 days to knit this sweater because the pattern was released about a week before Halloween, and I wanted him to have it to wear on Halloween. And I needed to finish it like 2 days before so I can wash and block it because, you know, color work. And it needed to dry. So yeah, I think it took 5 or 6 days of lots of knitting. Very happy with it. So yeah, that was a lot of talk for one sweater, but you know, I feel like it's important to tell you my true actual feelings, and even if I'm not very happy with a pattern, I should tell you because, you know, that's my opinion. Okay. Now, that's the things I've finished. For knitting in the present, I have a million things to show. So let's start. I'm going to start with the Marled Magic Sweater by Stephen West. I just have to find the page, the front page. Here we go. This is it. I'm knitting the Marled Magic Sweater for myself. I am on section 5 right now. It still lives in this beautiful project box because I have so much stuff to do, you know, take care of. So I'm knitting this with, my idea of knitting this involves always holding one strand of a neutral whitish color together with a skein of just leftover sock yarn. And I'm using this mohair silk by Lana Grossa. It's called Silk Hair. And also Drops Alpaca in the natural white. Because I like the colorfulness of the sweater, but I also want it to be matching me. So yeah, this is it. This is a sweater. I promise this will be a sweater in the end. I'm gonna get rid of the box again because otherwise I will never be able to show you. So yeah, this is section 5 that I'm working on. Let's try. So this mesh was section 1. Then this here, section 2. Then I did some one color brioche for the first time ever, and I love it. Section 3. Then over here we have this triangle, it's section 4, and this now is section 5. I'm trying to alternate between the mohair and the alpaca, so I have it, you know, fuzzy, not fuzzy, fuzzy, not fuzzy. And I am using just, you know, leftovers. Different leftovers for this sweater. I enjoy this a lot. This is tons of fun because, you know, every time you start to feel like, ugh, this is going to get boring, you're changing. You're doing different stitch patterns, you do a different shaping, and it never gets boring that way. It's really fun to knit. Now that I have all the Halloween stuff done, I want to get back to it. So you go back down here. It's a sweater that's a ton of fun to knit, and it will be lovely to wear, but it's just weird to show because it doesn't resemble a sweater whatsoever. So the next thing I have to show, you're going to say, what? Is my Hogwarts A History sweater. And that pattern is by Megan Reagan, who also designed the Halloween sweater for Tim. And when I had started this sweater, I kind of promised myself to not get a sweater pattern from her again, because this sweater also had a lot of mistakes in the beginning in the pattern. It's confusing, and if you are new to sweaters and you would attempt to knit this sweater written as it is written, you're going to have a lot of problems. I'm quite happy to be a very experienced sweater knitter, because that way I just said, you know what, I'm going to have to change this, I'm going to have to change this, I'm going to have to do it like this. And now it works. But it does make me sad because I paid for both of these patterns. And I don't want to be a dick, but if I pay for a pattern, I want this pattern to be written in a way that I will end up with a sweater that fits. You know, if I screw up the sizing, that's my problem. But if I had done things the way it is written in the pattern, this would not have been a sweater. It would have had 4 holes, which by definition makes it a sweater, but that's about it. I'm not too impressed with that. I'm sorry to say, but I want to be honest. So this is my sweater. I love this sweater. Don't get me wrong. I love this sweater. I love the other sweater. I think they are both amazing. The ideas behind both sweaters are great, but I think sometimes investing into a tech editor is the best idea. Okay, now here's my Hogwarts A History sweater. I've done quite a lot on this. I had finished the colorwork last time, and I told you that the owls are not in the pattern. They are from a free scarf pattern that I have linked on my project page. And I'm now on the body, which is the most boring thing ever because it's black and in the round. So, you know, it's perfect reading knitting, but I haven't had time to read lately. So yeah, this sweater has seen lots of love and then no love at all. I am using Opal Royal, which is the orange, which is yarn that they made for a very short time and it's not available anymore. And the black is Regia Soft Glitter, which is not soft at all. But for a sweater, I think I'm going to be fine. So yeah, oh, I'm dropping stitches here. I don't want to trash talk the pattern designer, you know, because I do love the patterns and I think the ideas behind both of these are amazing. And I do get it that when you start out writing patterns, you can't be perfect, but I also cannot just say they're amazing because they are not amazing. They need work, and it's not trash talking, it's just the truth. I feel a bit weird about it, but I don't want to lie to you and tell you how amazing they are because I don't want to lie. Good. Continue on. I have 3 other things on the needles. I have started the Starflake mystery shawl by Stephen West, and I got to clue 2 and then I kind of stopped because I knit the sweater for my son. So unless you've lived under a rock, you have seen the finished shawl by now, so I'm not going to bother about the spoiler warning. So I'm using these 2 yarns. They are a cashmere blend from Hamburger Wollfabrik, which is, you know, a yarn shop in Hamburg. And like I said, I just got onto clue 2, so there's not a whole lot to show, but I love the shawl. So these are my colors, and I'm not quite sure about them, to be honest. They wouldn't have been my first choice, but I had the yarn and I didn't want to buy yarn, so that's what I use. It's going to be super soft because of the cashmere. So you start out knitting this star, and then there's chevron going on. And I have set up the 2-color brioche because I love brioche. I enjoy knitting it. I like the look of it. And I haven't gotten further than that. That's kind of all I can show about it. I really want to make it. Yeah, I am making it. I really want to finish it soon. That's what I wanted to say. So, yeah. Then, I started knitting on my husband's Christmas gift again because, you know, my husband has a job that has him travel a lot. And then I decided to knit him a sweater for Christmas because, you know, he's gone a lot. And I started my sweater, and right after I started, he just didn't have to go away for 2 months, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's great that he doesn't have to travel that much, but it seriously cuts down on my knitting time. So I have some yarn in here. Let's put it here. Okay. I am knitting the Montrealer for my husband. That is a pattern by Vincent. Designs by Dells. That's what he goes by. This is the sweater. I'm doing it a bit different because, you know, it's kind of starting to be a thing for me. I'm not going to do the pocket, the kangaroo pocket, because I think that my husband will never use it. So I will not make it. And also I'm using 3 different colors for the stripes instead of just 1. Or he uses 2, but you know, one of those 2 colors is just for 1 stripe and the rest is the same. And I've decided to knit 3 different ones. Oh, that one's attached. Okay. So my main yarn, I feel so discombobulated today. That's what happens when you don't podcast for a while. Okay, my main yarn is this yarn. It is Rowan Fine Art Aran Weight, which is a merino, alpaca, and mohair blend. And it is a bit scratchy, which is a worry of mine because my husband is quite sensitive. I hope he can wear the sweater in the end. My contrast yarns are Hedgehog Fibers Potlucks in the BFL Aran Weight and in her merino Aran Weight. So these 2 are Hedgehog Fibers. And the one I'm working with right now is another crafty girl, also Aran White. And I am knitting this, again, a tiny bit different because the pattern calls for a light worsted to worsted weight and a 4mm or 4.5. And I'm using Aran weight and a 5mm needle. And I'm knitting the largest size. In the first pattern, there was an update and that he added larger sizes, but I have no idea what size I'm knitting right now. But it's the largest one in the original pattern. So now where's the front of this thing? I think it's there. This is it. This is quite big, you know. My husband's a large guy. I mean, very tall and broad-shouldered. So yeah, this is what I have so far. And someone commented on my Instagram that they really liked the sweater, but they weren't sure if, you know, if I was sure my husband would wear it because of bright colors. And I'm like, he will definitely wear that. He likes bright colors, so he will love the sweater. I'm just afraid that he will not be able to wear it because of his sensitive skin. So keep your fingers crossed for me, because that would suck. I'm really happy with it. I'm quite happy to have separated sleeves and body because that was a lot of stitches. So yeah, I know, because he still doesn't have to travel a lot until Christmas. I told him that in the evening when I'm upstairs in the reading room and the door is closed, he is not allowed to just walk in. He needs to knock and give me some time to put stuff away, because otherwise this will never ever get finished for Christmas, and that would suck. Yeah. I just can't do it any different. So that leaves me with just one project that I started. And I have it in this Ravelry bag. It is a sweater for myself. And it is a colorwork and cable sweater. So, where are my... Okay. I have decided on a sweater that I wanted to make for myself. And it is the Ember sweater by Yuko Shimizu. It looks like this. And I'm very excited for this. Like I said, started it. The sweater, this pattern is written amazing. Amazingly written. So here is my started sweater. Oh. What just happened here? Where do you go? What did I do? Okay. I actually managed to stop knitting. No, I didn't. Okay. No. Ah. Okay, now I've sorted it out. Sorry, I just did something weird. Okay, so I have not done a whole lot, but it is started. I have attached all 3 colors now, and I'm very happy with my choices. So this is what it looks like so far. I just, you know, down here, I started the colorwork again with colors 2 and 3. So the main color I'm using is this one here, and it is the Moss colorway from Dye Candy. This is the label. I have 2 skeins of this. So this is the main yarn. My first contrast color is Vivid Wool in the Globbrüstinger colorway, which I think is a red-breasted robin or a yellow-breasted robin. One of those 2. And it is this colorway. I got this as a gift from my friend Linda when we met at EYF. And it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And I love how it looks with my main color. And then, because these 2 are speckled, I wanted to kind of tone it down a little bit for my third color, which I'm gonna I'm gonna bring it into some context. So her orange is my green. Her whitish light color is my orange. And the blue in her sweater is going to be brown in mine. Because, you know, I love fall colors. And this one here is from Meereswolle, a German hand dyer. And it is a wool and rami blend. So, where is the opening here? And here. These are my 3 colors for this sweater. And I mean, they are beautiful colors and they are very neat colors. I think this will be perfect. It's lots of fun. After I started, I couldn't really knit a whole lot on it because I had my mum stay here. My husband was gone for a week, so I had to work on his sweater. But now I really want to get back to working on this one here because I think it will be amazing. So yeah, that is it for knitting in the present. Lots and lots of stuff. And I'm very excited about my knitting again. You know, I was in a funk and I didn't want to start anything and I couldn't decide what to knit. And that is done and over with. I want to knit everything right now. I want to start all the things and cast on new stuff every day. But I'm restricting myself to my Ember sweater and finishing the other started things right now. We will see how long that will last. Knowing me, it's going to be like poof out the window in a few days, but I'm trying. So that is a lot of talk about knitting. I do have some more things to talk about though. Like I said, the spinning segment will be extra because that's a lot to talk about as well. New stuff. I have a few things for new stuff. Where did I put them? I put them all in here. Okay. I mean, I have lots of stuff for new stuff, but you know, I got my second installment of the Hedgehog Potluck Club. And again, I could not be happier with what I got. I'm going to show it to you like this because I'm too lazy to take it out. I got another skein of the mohair silk, a skein of Aran weight yarn that I briefly considered putting into my husband's sweater and then decided, you know what? No, this is going to be for me. I got a sock mini that's, you know, hidden in here. And I got a single yarn in very much Tracy colors. So this makes me very happy. And then, let me take stuff out here. I received a parcel from my wonderful friend Debbie. And she sent me a skein of her hand spun and a wonderful coloring book that I'm going to show to you. So, let's take that over here. First, the hand spun. It is gorgeous. It is a fin, which I have never spun actually. And it's, yeah, like I said, spun from my friend Debbie, who's just amazing. And it froze. At least it could have frozen, focused, you know, but it, of course it didn't. So here's the skein of hand spun that I received. It's gorgeous. I love hand spun yarn. I love receiving hand spun yarn. So this makes me very happy. And I'm probably going to knit a hat for myself. I'm not sure yet. So this is what I got. I also got a beautiful card and some colored pencils because she sent me a coloring book. And you know, I'm not the person to sit down and color stuff in, but I think this book might change this because if you are easily offended, that's not for you, but I'm not offended easily at all. And I don't see how a word can offend someone. I always think that actions do, but I got the Fuckity Fuck 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 coloring book, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you this page, for instance. You know, it says Bitchy McFuckerton. And all of these pages are done like that. They have a, nice mandala-esque background. And then things like this on top. The shit wizard. That could be me because I fuck up a lot. Happens. Yeah, this is just the most hilarious thing I have ever received in the mail. I'm trying to find another one that I like this one as well. This makes me very happy because, like I said, I don't see how words can offend you. You know, a word, not, of course, words put together into a sentence that can be very offensive, but, you know, a word, I never understood that. She also sent me an issue of Spin-Off magazine, which I love flipping through. So, yeah, this is what I received from my friend Debbie. Thank you so much. This, the coolest thing ever. So, yeah, this is how I work, you know. You go here. Then I received a needle set because I decided to subscribe to the Vogue Knitting magazine, but the German version, because it's the exact same as the American. You know, it's a exact translation, and it's just easier and cheaper. That's the reason why I got that one, because if I had gotten the English version, I would have had to pay a lot extra for shipping. And in Germany, when you do a subscription for a magazine that is, you know, from Germany or in German, you don't have to pay shipping. You just pay for the magazines, and that's what I did. So I did a 2-year subscription, and I got this needle set, and it is from Pony. And I didn't know that they did needle sets, but I quite like these. This is what it looks like when you open it up. There's the cables, there's some end stopper things, and the needles. And what I really like about those needles, now let me see if I can find another needle, because this is going to be easier. Of course, now I can't find a needle. Oh, typical. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm gonna just yank up this one. So here I have my Chagu needles, which I love. But let me put the Pony next to it. And I'm gonna start at the exact point where it's attached to the cable. And you can see the difference. This needle, the Pony needle, is that much longer, which for someone with small hands might be an inconvenience, but I do not have small hands. I have giganto hands. So this needle is perfect for me, because if I hold it like this, which I do for knitting, it still touches my hand and gives me stability, which is amazing. That is the reason why I love my Diet Crafts needles so much, because I ordered those in the longer tips as well. And I do have this sweater is on a Diet Crafts needle. Let's compare, shall we? So the Diet Crafts needle and the Pony needle, and it is still longer. So these I will love, because, you know, big hands. I seriously dislike knitting on short tips because I can't grab them. But these I can grab, and it makes me very happy. So, you know, for very large hands, I'm very excited about these. So those are the new needles in my house. And then I have more stuff. I have yarn that I got from my friend Sandra from Kunterbunte Wolle yesterday, because we had knit club yesterday and she brought yarn, which is always a problem for me. And I ended up getting these 4 because, you know, they're just pretty and they are very much my colors. So I have absolutely no idea what I want to do with them, but I think they could be a beautiful colorwork sweater. So maybe that will happen. I don't know yet. I will put them in the drawer with all the other Sandra yarn, and then I will decide what to do with it. And then the big thing is this bag here tells you already where I got it from. I went to a spinning retreat and we had to drive past the Shop with Wolle factory store, and I got lots of things. I got yarn for myself, and I got the yarn that I used for Tim's sweater because I loved it so much. So I got this colorway for myself, 5 skeins of it. I got 3 skeins of this ox blood red and 4 skeins of this dark green. Because this way I just, I have enough for a sweater in all of them, and I can, juggle around and make interesting things. But the main thing in here is yarn that my husband wanted to get. So let me dig out the colors that he chose. Now this is interesting. And this one. Okay. So after I knit my son his Halloween sweater, I asked my husband if he wanted to have a sweater as well, because he loved the look of this yarn, that it is not gray, but it has those white flecks in it. And I said to him, you know what? We're going to drive past Shoppelwolle. Let's just stop and get yarn for a sweater for you. And I'm going to knit you one. And in my head, this sweater was going to be a Flax Light by Tinker Knits in just one color. As a easy throw-on sweater. And yeah, my husband's mind went in a completely different direction. And he wants a colorwork sweater because he likes the one that I made for Tim so much. He does not want the skulls, but he wants a colorwork yoke. So I have, after checking and looking, decided to do the Strange Brew pattern by Tinker Knits and design the yoke with my husband together. And he decided on the yarn. He walked around and he found the yarn he wanted to use. And it is not the linen blend, which is interesting, but he went for the hemp blend. It's called Admiral Hanf. And it is a, what is it? Where is it? Here it is. It's 67% wool. It's 23% polyamide and 10% hemp. So yeah, that's what he wanted to have for a sweater. And because I have absolutely no idea how much yarn we need, we got lots, probably way more than we will need. So we got 7 skeins of the main color because, my husband's a tall guy. And that's this jeans denim-y blue. And then his first contrast color, where he decided to get 2 skeins of, just to be sure, is this lighter charcoaly gray. So these 2. Then he decided to have a color pop and add this yellowy lime green into the mix. And also in the leftovers room, where they have the reduced yarns, I found a skein of this in this nice burnt orange. So these colors will become a colorwork yoke sweater for my husband. And I do have a naturally white and I do have black, and so I can put in more colors, but this is what he chose. And I got 11 skeins in total, which is way more than I need. But I also did not want to run out. So I'd much rather have 5 skeins more than I need and knit a sweater for Tim or myself out of those leftovers than just run out by 20 yards. Because, it's going to be a big sweater. So that's the new stuff, which was a lot, considering that I don't need anything. This was a lot of new stuff. So for reading, listening, watching, I read a short story in the Charlie Rhodes Cozy Mystery series because I just love those books so much. And I have to find it. I read the short story that goes after book 5 and before book 6. And that is called Millie on a Mission, which makes Millie the main character for a, short story. But Charlie and Jack are a big part of that story. And after reading in the description that, that's going to be the case, I decided to read this book or this short story, because it's a continuation of what happened so far. And yeah, so I got it. I read it in one day. It's 100 pages, super short, super easy. And after that, I haven't read anything. So that's the only thing I read, but I listened to a lot of things because I listened to my audiobooks while knitting the sweater for my son, while starting the ember, while knitting on my husband's sweater. I've just listened to audiobooks a lot. And I listened, surprise, surprise, to the Charlie Rhodes Cozy Mystery series twice. I'm on a second run through because I'm apparently a crazy person. But I just like those books, you know, I'm comfortable with them. I know what happens, so I can concentrate on my knitting and just, you know, not hear what's going on for 10 minutes because I'm concentrating hard on other things. But yeah, I'm on the fourth book in my second go round. It's 5 books right now, and the 6th book is going to be released in a few weeks, in December, beginning of December. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. I don't care if you judge me for this or not. I just love these books. I don't know why, but I do. So I will keep listening to them forever and ever. I have no sewing, which is not a surprise because I completely lost my sewing mojo. I have no idea why, but it's gone. Now, everything else. There will be a VKN next Saturday. That is the 16th of November. It's November already. That's crazy. It's going to be at 9 p.m. GMT +1, which is German time, like it always is. If you want to join, come over to the Ravelry group, click on the link that I will provide in the VKN thread. That's all you have to do. You need to have a internet doable device. You need to have a device that is able to go into the internet. That's all. You do not have to make an account or anything. Just click a link. That's all you need to do. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is my fiber school, which I'm so excited about. And I've worked out classes, you know, I've done a lot of writing work, written down what I want to do and how I want to do the classes, and, you know, just done a lot of preparation work in that regard. And I really want to get started. I'm so excited to start, but this stupid construction site outside my house makes it impossible for me to start right now, because if I do a class, you should be able to hear me, you know, and that's not going to happen during the week. So, yeah, I have to postpone starting my fiber school to the point where they are done with the construction. I have worked out a lot of classes, you know, I've done preparation stuff, and I have worked out the problems with the camera, because this camera kind of sucks and it should be, you know, I shouldn't use it anymore for podcasting, but I just couldn't be bothered to switch things around today. So this is what you get. But I'm going to still use this camera for the fiber school for my face. I'm also going to use a very good camera for my hands. So I'm going to have 2 windows with myself open. One with my face, because I don't want to be a disembodied voice where you just see hands. That's kind of weird. And the other one will be a very good camera, so you can actually see what I'm doing. And my face is going to be a bit grainy because that's not the important bit. So yeah, I've worked out everything. And I cannot get started because of the background noise. And it drives me insane because it's like, I really want to start. So yeah, as soon as the construction is over, the first classes will start happening. And I'm probably going to do another video talking about the fiber school and just explaining what I want, because a lot of people, I did ask, I did put up a survey and lots of people answered that survey, and I had just one field where you could give feedback, and a lot of people suggested doing Patreon, and I am never going to do Patreon because I don't want anyone to continuously give me money each month. That's just, I don't understand why you would do that. Because I'm just sitting down talking about my projects that I'm knitting on, you know, that's just, I don't want that. And for the fiber school, I don't want that either, because first of all, it gives me pressure to make things happen. And also, if there's a month where I'm doing a lot of spinning and you're not a spinner, I don't want you to give me money, because, you know, you are not gaining anything from me. So, yeah, Patreon is not an option for me. I am going to do all of the fiber school stuff via Ko-fi, because 2 reasons. First of all, it's not a continuous thing. It's a one-time thing. You have to consciously go on and do it. And also it allows for anonymous donations, which is exactly what I want, because I want to do this on a donation basis. So it's not going to be, hey, I'm doing an intro to cables today and it's going to be $30. That's not what I want. I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to do a introduction to cable knitting. If you're interested, come on over. You take the class. In the end of the class, you will have the opportunity to go to Ko-fi and donate the amount you deem, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but so you can give me the amount of money you think it was worth being in that class based on what you gained, how much you understood or didn't understand, because, you know, it's possible that I'm not the kind of teacher that will be able to teach you anything, because that is possible. And also the anonymous part, it's very important to me, because if you want to join a class but you are tight on money and you can't give money, or just a small amount of money, I don't want anyone to feel bad about that. So I want to have everyone donate on a anonymous basis, so no one has to feel bad, because I will not know who gave what in the end, and that's important to me. So yeah, no Patreon, not gonna happen. So I think that's it for today, or, you know, for the knitting part. I'm gonna sit down and do the spinning part in a separate video, like I said. And if you are interested in spinning, go watch the other video. If not, see you next time. I hope I will be able to do it, you know, a bit earlier than 6 weeks in between, but I cannot promise anything, because, you know, it's out of my hands. So that's it. I'm going to stop talking. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and enjoy everything you do. Where is it? Here it is. Bye.